Hey, welcome again to Brookside's Story. I'm Quinn Schultz, a member of Brookside Christian Reformed Church here in Grand Rapids, Michigan on the southeast side. I'll say more about the church in a little bit, but we're going to have a great conversation with someone that I have been anxious to talk with because I have all kinds of tough questions for her. And that person is right here, Cindy DeBoer. And Cindy DeBoer is the choir director plus more, choir consultant, gives us a lot of help on the music in general here at Brookside Christian Reformed Church. And she's such a great person to encourage people and to help with a choir that has some really good voices in it.
Yes, we do.
It's amazing how good our choir is. So that's an invitation for you to come. Mm-hmm. So Cindy DeBoer, where in the world did you grow up?
I grew up on the south side of Chicago, actually, in a town called Lansing, Illinois. I went to grade school and high school there, and then I came to Calvin. And
Calvin College.
Calvin University. Yeah, Calvin College, now Calvin University. I went back to the south side and taught school for 5 years, and then moved to the west side of Chicago. And then about 25 years ago, moved to Grand Rapids, actually for the first time for me. And I've been here since then.
And what were you doing in the interim there before coming back here? Were you with a church on the west side of Chicago, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I went back to my home church where I grew up, which is Bethel Christian Reformed Church in Lansing, Illinois, and I was involved in worship there a little bit, played the organ. And then went on the west side of Chicago, went to Lombard Christian Reformed Church. I was involved in ministry there as an organist, and directed a children's choir there. And then when I came back here, or came to Grand Rapids, I actually joined Brookside Christian Reformed Church with my family, and organist there, sang in the choir a little bit, directed a junior choir there as well.
Is music in your bones?
Yes, I was reflecting on this actually a while ago. I think that I have been part of a choir since I was 7 years old. So
wow.
For probably about 50 years, I've sung in some type of choir. So yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now you work for the Calvin Institute. It's for Christian worship or of?
The Calvin Institute of Christian
Of
worship.
Christian worship.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're connected to what's going on with churches and music and all over the
Correct.
place.
Yes.
And so you're somewhat of an expert, and I say that because I want to put you on the spot with a question here.
Okay.
When did choirs begin in the history of the church?
You know what? That shows that I am not an expert, because
Yeah.
I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I do know that there are some traditions that don't believe in choirs.
Oh, yes.
I actually don't think
And still in existence, yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I don't really know the answer to that, but I'm sure that choirs have been around for centuries.
And of course, you have to define a choir. How many people does it take to be defined as a choir? Does it have to have a leader? Can it just be people singing? Should they be up front or should they be in the back? There's a good question.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were disagreements about that. I ask you that question. I don't know the answer either, but I suspect that choirs really came to their own during the Reformation period. And along the same time that, let's say, organs really became popular as well. That's just what I suspect. So you can post your notes down below, or you can invite Cindy and me out for coffee and give us a lesson.
Yes,
on this. Even
a good thing for us both to research.
Yeah, and even just defining what a choir is.
Yes.
So we have this choir here at Brookside, and about once a month, is that right?
About every 3 weeks or so, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how do you select the music that the choir is going to sing?
Yeah, so I work with Pastor Paul and with Joel to talk about what the theme of the service is. Particularly, I look at what Pastor Paul's or what the pastor is going to be preaching on. I look at the scripture. If it's during a liturgical season, like we're in the season of Lent right now, quite often I will look for songs that are in the Lenten theme. Mm-hmm. During Advent, we will sing Advent songs. Obviously, Christmas and Easter, it's pretty easy to pick up music for that. In the in-between times, we are often in a series. So like we finished the series with the Beatitudes. So I looked for songs that might be related to Jesus speaking to his disciples, or what we learned from the Beatitudes. Sometimes that doesn't necessarily work, and so then I might look for songs, especially for at the beginning of the service, that call God's people into worship. So a call to worship type of song. Quite often the songs that the choir sings might be a response to either it might be a call to confession. We might sing a call to confession, or we might sing a song in response to the assurance of pardon, which is what we did today. So it's kind of like fitting it into this service. Another part of what the choir does, and this is pretty important to me, is that we are the leaders for congregational singing. So we certainly can sing music that glorifies God and that can help reflect on what God's done for us. But what we also can do is help the congregation learn new songs. We can lift, kind of be the praise team, so to speak, up front, that encourages the congregation in singing. And quite often I will look for songs that are in the hymnal that maybe the congregation doesn't know, so that we can kind of learn those songs as well.
That's great. Just as a little bit of background here, so in worship, we have communication. And sometimes we're directing our communication at God. Sometimes God is communicating with us. Sometimes we're communicating with each other before the face of God. So you have these different parts, these different players, if I can put it that way, in worship. And so what you do at the choir is help us to situate ourselves right in the service as to who is communicating to whom. And so you're directing us, let's say, that this is now our time to, as a response in gratitude to God or whatever it is. And that requires a fair amount of work and thinking through on your part, because you might have music that is thematically fitting, but it doesn't fit at that point in what we call the liturgy.
Right.
Historically, that's the work of the people, or the way we work within and organize our worship part to part. And so you do a tremendous job at that. It's just a delight from week to week. I know enough about liturgy and worship to be dangerous. and so I tend to think about what's going on also from a communication standpoint. How do you feel about inviting people who are not great singers to be involved? Now, I should tell you that I am not a great singer. In fact, I sit toward the front in part because my wife does, but also because I want as few people as possible hearing me when I'm singing. I try, but I just can't do it well. I have been involved in choirs before when I felt like the choir director did not have such high standards that I would foul things up. Now, I went and sat in on one of your rehearsals, and what I noticed about it, in part, was how you made everybody comfortable, really. And I thought, that is good. So should we, through this video, invite people who can sing, they can read some music, but they're not terrific singers, to join the choir?
No, and I'm so glad you brought this up, because we have many different singers in our choir. We have some that have been reading music since they were very young. We have some singers that reading music didn't really start until they started to join the choir, and certainly they were hesitant at first. They are very grateful to be standing next to people that can help them learn stuff. But singing in a choir is a little bit different than singing in church, because we do sing, in harmony. We do read the notes. So if you can sort of see that the notes are going up and going down, and if you're really fairly good at matching pitch, you're going to do just fine in the choir. And then there are two things that we think about when we sing in a choir. Certainly we think about the music and how we can use the music to express what the words are saying, but we also look at what the words are saying. And I really encourage the choir members to look at the words and think about, well, what am I trying to say? When we sing, it's not like speaking, but in some ways it is like speaking. And you brought up the different kinds of ways that we do sing. So we speak to God with, worship. We speak to each other, but we also sometimes sing words from the Lord himself. So especially words from the Psalms, we're singing directly from Scripture, and those are words from God or words of David to God. So there's just a variety of things. If you like to sing and you think that you would like to be part of the choir, I encourage you to come and just give it a try and see how comfortable.
And it is.
We do have a very good time in choir.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
And what I did when I was in a choir as not a great singer is I would always stand next to somebody who was singing the same as I was, usually a tenor, and I would go back just a little bit so I could hear them really well, and then I would match them.
Yep.
See, even if I couldn't read the music well, I knew it was going up or down. I couldn't quite hit those notes on my own, but if I had somebody next to me that I could hear, I could hit them, and then everything was fine. So if you're thinking about maybe joining a choir, we have the choir for you to join. And Cindy is a terrific director, a fine human being, and they do have fun. So we hope you will consider that. And so let me give a pitch then for you to join us for worship. We change the type of music we do from week to week, and the choir may or may not be there. But if you come 3 or 4 times in a row, you will definitely hear the choir as one of those. And Cindy has some surprises on what the choir does. Sometimes it's a very traditional piece, but done a little bit differently. And it shakes you up a little. I like it because then we focus more on, well, what is the meaning of this? We don't just go along with it. So Cindy, thanks for your great work. Thanks to you all for watching. And if you are running across this and you're not a member or you haven't attended, please come to Brookside Christian Reformed Church. We are at the corner of Kalamazoo and 36 Southeast in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Worship is at 10 a.m. in the morning. That's when we will have the choir too. And then at 6 p.m. in the evening. There's not as much a variety of music in the evening, but great time, especially the prayer time, the preaching, and the like. So thanks everybody for watching. This is Brookside's Story. I'm Quinn with Cindy, and she is directing the choir here. And with great gratitude, we sign off and thank you, my dear Cindy.
Thank you.